So this week we are summarizing different arguments on the existence or the non-existence of God. And the first few arguments that I'm going to summarize and evaluate are from Miranda's Philosophical Proofs on the Existence of God. The first argument is the cosmological argument, which uses the concept of efficient cause, basically stating there's a string of causes that begin with a first cause, which would be God. Everything and everyone owes their existence to something else, and that would be God. They also used the argument, they had this written out, and I kind of drew it for my better understanding, but it reminded me of last week's assignment where we analyzed arguments. So I wrote it down just for my learning purpose, and I'll share it that way. But every being that exists or ever did exist is either dependent or a self-existent being. Not every being can be a dependent being, so there exists a self-existent being. And that's kind of how they have the argument set up. The second argument is the teleological argument, which states that the universe doesn't just behave randomly. It kind of suggests that someone created things to happen in a particular way, such as the speed of light uses that example, and the designer is God. And then the ontological argument makes the argument that, well, it kind of suggests that God's existence is based off a definition. This one I kind of had to read a few times, but so I took the notes that God is understood as a perfect being. This concept had to come from somewhere. Therefore, if a concept exists in reality, well, if it didn't exist, neither would the definition. Sorry, I didn't mean to stop there. That one kind of tripped me up a little bit. The last thing that we summarize and evaluate was the problem of the evil argument, which basically says if God is real, then there wouldn't be evil in the world. And I hear people talk about this one a lot, like if God is real, why would a 6-year-old get cancer? Or why would he let a 6-year-old get cancer? So I've definitely heard this one a few times. The others are first for me. And then for part 5, do these arguments give us good, truth-oriented, rational reasons to believe in a deity? And I think they do. I thought it was interesting hearing different arguments because I've never heard of God explained in some of these ways. But some of the things argued, like it makes sense if it were true. There's always in the argument, like, if the premises are true, the conclusion would have to be true. So I think some of these are valid arguments to be made. I would love to sit down and talk to people about some of these, but for the most part, I think these are structurally set up to where they're strong. And that is all for this week.